All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. So, we are looking at the types of graphic design. Now, basically, there are four major types of graphic design. We have the image-based design, we have the type-based design, then we have the image and type-based design, and the symbols, logos, and logotypes. Now, let's look at the first one, which is the image-based design. So, designers develop images to represent the idea their client wants to communicate. Images can be incredibly powerful and compelling tools of communication, conveying not only information but also mood and emotion. Now, people respond to images instinctively based on their personalities, association, and previous experience. For example, you know that a chili pepper is hot, right? And this knowledge is a combination with the image creates a visual pump. Now, we are simply saying that when we talk about images, images are trying to portray a feeling. They are trying to portray an association. All right, they are trying to portray an experience. Now, we take an example as if we are looking at how to design a logo. Now, people have tend to design logos in such a way that once you take a look at that logo, it gives you a particular information. It tries to tell you what that business is all about. All right, so that's just what image is all about. So if you are able to look at a design and try to bring out what that image is trying to portray, is trying to bring out, then you've actually gotten the concept of graphic design found in that image. So in the case of image-based design, the image must carry the entire message. All right, there are few, if any, words to help. These images may be photographic, painted, drawn, or graphically rendered in many different ways. So image-based design is employed when the designer determines that in a particular case, a picture is indeed worth 1,000 words. Now, when we would designing logos, when we get into logo design, you are going to see how important image-based design is. You're going to see how a particular logo can bring out what a business is all about. Now, if you look at this image on the screen, you discover that this Chili is a company. So Chili's restaurant, all right, it recently changed its logo, all right, from Chili's with a small chili at the top to what? This Chili's, all right. So just looking at it, you already know that this is chili, or what we call pepper in our way of pronouncing it, chili pepper. All right, so when you look at it, you know it has to do with something pepperish or a restaurant. All right, it gives you that idea that this has to do with a restaurant. All right, so, or a company that is in charge of producing growing pepper can still be good with such a logo. All right, so this is just what image-based design is all about. Now let's get to the next. So these are examples of image-based designs. You're just looking at an image, you're able to bring out the information that is found in that image. All right, now let's get to the next type of graphic design, which is the type-based. So in some cases, designers rely on words to convey a message, but they use words differently from the way writers do. All right, so to designers, what the word look like is as important as their meaning. All right, so the visual forms of the letters, whether typography or handmade lettering, perform many communication functions. So we are simply saying that the way the designer takes to design that letter speaks for itself. It brings out what that business is actually about. All right, so the visual forms of the letters, whether typography or handmade letters, perform many communication functions. They can grab your attention on a poster, identify the product name on a package or a truck, or personal running text as the typography in a book does. All right, so designers are experts at presenting information in a visual form in print or on film, packaging, or sign. So as a graphic designer, there are times when you are carrying out a design, you should focus your mind on a type-based design. For example, when you're designing a logo, all right, when I'm designing a logo for a client, the first logo type that comes to my mind is that of a text, because it's one of the most simplest and it's one which can easily be remembered. All right, we are going to look at that when we are talking about logo design. So simply put, typography is the art of print. So in our daily lives, we are constantly surrounded by it. As simple as it may seem, typography subtly combines communicative and artistic elements to create a print that is both pleasing and easy to read. All right, so designers achieve this by selecting the right fonts, lettering, and print types. In order to be successful, it must complete two basic rules. All right, so clearly communicate the intended message and do so in a visual, effective way that is both artistic and attractive. So what we are simply saying here is that as a graphic designer, if you have to focus on typography. Now, when we talk about typography, it means a design that simply mostly involves text only, all right, especially logos. So when you are working with this, for example, we are going to look at the Tatita Group. If you look at the Tatita Group logo, Tatita Group Institute, just look at it at the bottom right, all right, it's trying to bring out some information. So when somebody looks at TGI, that person knows that this is all about Tatita Group Institute, all right. So that effectiveness should be there. All right, now let's get some examples of the type based design. You see, we have Love Me, we have all these designs. They are just filled with what? They are text, and text. All right, the way someone will actually design this Love Me will be totally different from what you have actually designed. So these are just examples of what I am talking about. Now let's look at the combination of both the type and the image. All right, this is another type of graphic design. We have image and type design. So designers often combine images, and this is very, very popular. All right, designers love to combine images and typography to communicate a client's message to an audience. In fact, the majority of graphic designers, the majority of graphic design is a combination of image with typography. So designers explore the creative responsibilities presented by words, that's typography, and images. So typography, illustration, and fine arts. All right, so it is up to the designer not only to find or create appropriate letter forms and images, but also to establish the best balance between them. We are going to be looking at principles of graphic design, which balance is one of them, and you're going to see how it actually affects your design. So images, photography, illustration, fine arts plus typography, typefaces, font is equal to graphic design. All right, so these are examples. You see images and text combined together. That's what actually makes a very beautiful graphic design. All right, now let's look at the types of, let's look at the next type of graphic design, which is symbols, logos, and logo types. I'm just going to be brief here because we are going to really look at this when we are designing logos. All right, so symbols and logos are special, highly condensed information from forms or identifiers. All right, so symbols are an abstract representation of a particular idea or identity. That's CBSIs. Logo is a symbolic form which we learn to recognize or representing a particular concept or company. All right, so logo types are corporate identification based on a special typographical word treatment. All right, so some logos are combination of symbols and logo types. We are going to look at that. So in order to create these identifiers, the designer must have a clear vision of the corporation or idea to be represented and of the audience to which the message is directed. So we are simply saying here that as a graphic designer, before you pick up your design, all right, of course you need to get an opinion, you need to get opinions from the client. But before you actually carry out the design, you need to know the audience you are targeting. And you need to know the corporation from where that logo is to, the corporation which the logo is to represent. All right, so that particular phenomenon speaks a lot when it comes to graphic design, and not only graphic design, but the particular type of graphics you are actually designing. So let's take examples of, we have symbols. I think this is familiar. An abstract representation of an idea or identity is known as a symbol. Then we have logos. We are going to look at how to design logos as well. A symbol that may be a combination of images and types, all right? So we've already talked about that. And then we equally have the logo type, a symbol composed of type only. Type only here simply means just text, mostly text. You don't have any other information that is attached to that, all right? So that is just what we are saying. So we are simply saying, the nutshell here is that graphic design is visual communication. That is the shortest definition you can always get. Graphic design is visual communication. All right. So in our next slides, we are going to be looking at how does graphic design work. All right. So I hope we actually understand what the types of graphic design, and see you in our next session.